Welcome back to the 1090 podcast. Today is our anniversary episode of season 1, which also means it's the anniversary of the car accident. So my wife Kortni, son Riggins, daughter Franki, brother Race, nephew Rider were killed in a car accident, along with other people too. It wasn't just them. Other people died. Other people lost limbs, and it just wasn't a good day for a lot of people, not just the Sawyer family. Trying to make this day somewhat a positive experience with the podcast and trying to focus on other people. That's something that's helped me. So today we're just going to mention everyone that we interviewed in season 1. Dave, I wanted to do a quick one cool takeaway from each person that we had on, but it'd be too long, I think.
Yeah, we had some really cool people, some really cool stories that we heard, and how they're doing with their 10%. Well, their 90%.
So Sam and I, we just wanted to tell everyone thank you, and then we're just going to talk about some things that we've learned. I just listed some things that I learned after season 1. And then we got some questions that maybe we'll get to if we have time at the end that people sent in. But thank you for all the support, the messages. It's been a really cool experience. So thank you.
Life 10% what happens to you and 90% what you're going to do about it.
Welcome back to the 1090 podcast. I'm Sam Josie here with Mason Sawyer, and we're going to jump right in. We got a lot of content for this episode.
Yeah, we do. Hopefully it doesn't get too long. Before we started, though, and it's always I think it's a mistake when you just try to thank everyone because you're just going to leave people out.
Sure.
But I do need to thank you guys. I need to thank Sam, Josie. You got a regular job. You got a family. You're a busy guy. Why do you never answer the phone? You never answer the phone. I tried calling you last night to because we're never prepared for our podcast. I want to call you and talk to you hey, this is kind of what I'm thinking. But we never do because you never answer the phone.
I go to bed at 8 o'clock at night now. I go to bed early.
And what pisses me off is you're always on your phone.
I know.
Every time I see you, you're on your phone.
I know, but
sometimes during the podcast, I look over and you're just on the phone. No. I'm crying about my family, and you're just playing whatever.
Sent my way. That is not true. That is not accurate.
You're always on your phone, and then I call you. What? Okay,
now and
hold
again,
on. Let me ask you a question.
Yeah.
What's your percentage? If I called you tonight, statistically. What's your percentage of picking up that
What
phone?
time are you calling?
Let's just general question, no specific time. Just answer, what's the percentage?
I would say there's a 50%
No
chance.
way.
Yeah, I would give it a 50% chance.
It's literally 10%. If I called you 10 times, you'd pick it up once.
Would it make you feel any better if I told you that's how it is in general for everyone? It's not specific to you. I don't answer the phone.
That does actually help. Thank you.
Yeah. I'm not a phone guy. I'm a phone guy. I would do better if my phone only had Wi-Fi so I could just be on the internet. That's all I need the phone for. I don't answer it. I send a text on occasion.
I do want to thank you, though. Because you give up a lot of time for basically no money. We don't make any money on the podcast. So thank you. And our friendship has meant a lot to me, not just from the accident, but we've been good buddies since high school. Yeah. And I do think having a really good friend, one of the coolest things to have. I think there's not a lot of better things in life than laughing.
Right.
I've been to some cool places in my life. Europe. Destin, Florida. That's about it, I guess. So not that many places, but
he lives in Florida,
dude. Destin, Florida is
really. I thought you were gonna start listing these.
No, I'm not. I'm actually not. I went to Europe and Rome, and that was cool. Yeah. But I'm going to Australia soon. Anyway, dude, I've been to some cool places, done some cool things. dude, there's nothing better than you're with your buddies or the people you love most around a campfire or whatever, and you're just laughing it up.
Yeah.
It's better than Rome. It's better than the beaches, and there's nothing better like the people you love. And we do a lot of that.
Yeah.
Just even when life's really, really hard, we just are there for each other, and we've used comedy and laughter our whole lives to get us through breakups and missions and marriage and death and whatever it is.
For sure.
And I think it's really rare, and I think I'm really lucky to have a friend like you and the sacrifices you've made for me and my family. And then I got to thank Ryan, because he's like, Ryan doesn't make any money. And it's sad because Ryan makes the least amount of money, but probably puts in the most amount of hours. Like, it's just the honest truth, and I feel so bad. But and Ryan, the funny thing with Ryan is he used to make good money as a salesman. See, Ryan's a 1090 material because he'd make all this money and he'd legit feel bad. He's like, I don't deserve this money. I'm like, Ryan, what is wrong with you? And so he like walked away from like a high paying job. He's like, this isn't for me. Like, I'm not getting satisfied. Like, Ryan gets it, I think. And so having him, he's fit in well. And so thank you for you too. Means a lot. So, okay. I'm just going to mention people we've interviewed on the podcast. Does that sound good?
Yeah, and then if there's things we want to chime in for.
Yeah, and then we'll get to what we've learned. Okay.
I like the addition of the iPad.
I know. Well, yeah, right? Getting big time over here. Okay, so we had my therapist, Matt Quackenbush, on. He was our first interviewee. We actually had him on twice. Loved the episodes we did with him. And then we had my buddy, Fred Yogo, who I met on my church mission in Alabama. Roll Tide. Really powerful episode. And then we had Nick and Janessa Watcott on. Their son Nixon died of childhood cancer. They gave me the hat I'm wearing right now. They sent to me this Nixon Strong
That's
hat.
cool.
Isn't that cool? They sent me like a shirt and this buffalo necklace and this hat and a really cool letter, and it was really cool.
That's sweet.
Yeah, childhood cancer took their kid. And then we had Brooke Pando talk about their daughter Lundy, and hopefully she's doing good. You talked to them a little bit.
Yeah, I saw him last. I see him at the gym.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're doing good. Doing good.
Dude, and like, okay, and then we had Sean Vieira, the Love Hard guy. And then Alec McMorris, who lost his leg. I liked Alec McMorris. He was great, dude.
Like going through listing some of these,
I know.
Like, I can't believe it's been that long.
I know.
That, like, so early in the podcast, it seems.
So Alec McMorris, Carrie McKee. Remember Carrie McKee, the firefighter husband?
Yes.
Who's, I don't even know what you call, but he was like taking pictures of naked kids. Like, remember that one? What's that? Voyeurism. Okay,
Yeah,
but
that was wild.
and then like after the Carrie, I feel like from my therapist to Carrie was like, it was rough. Like the audio wasn't great. We didn't really have Ryan yet.
Right.
Like those, I feel like those were like the diehard 1090, like really helping us out. Like this, and like it's not easy. Like come over to my basement, to my shitty podcast equipment, and talk about your kid who had cancer and died. Like that. It's
Right.
It's not. It's not easy sometimes.
Yeah.
So thank you so much for like these first few people we had on, because it was, and me mentally was worse back then too.
Do you remember our first episode? I think we recorded our first episode, just me and you, like 8 times.
Oh,
like
yeah.
a full episode. And then like we'd like, oh, we didn't hit record. That I mean, the editing back then was just brutal.
Yeah, it was not good. We were using GarageBand. I'm like trying to edit.
You were editing it manually, took you like 8 hours.
I think I was editing one episode. I'm like, hey, I accidentally deleted the episode.
Yeah.
He's like, are you serious? I'm like, yeah, we're gonna have to record it again. Okay, and then we had Mitch Wetman, sister committed suicide. They die every day. He said that. I'll never forget it. Then we had Christy North. Her son Taylor committed suicide. Porter Larson, his brother. Well, it was technically his uncle, but like a brother. He died parachuting. 4 minutes, dude, he fell. 4 minutes. What do you think about 4 minutes to your death? Like, what a thing that is. And then his dad died of a brain aneurysm like 10 years later. Dude, and then we had Becky and Tim Graff on. Swept away. So their daughter Kinsley, age 7, and daughter Ellie, age 3, both swept away in a flash flood. That was a brutal one. And then Brad Bailey, Riding Paradise, motorcycle guy. He's awesome. We need to get pizza with him.
Yeah. Brad, if you're listening, we need to hit up some pizza. What was that place? Two Jacks in Orem?
He swears by Two Jacks.
Yeah.
And then my buddy Brandon Vega from Florida, who I played college basketball with, he has his own thing, Eaton. Really cool, powerful message. Love what he's doing. Hopefully he's still doing his thing. And then we had your brother, Zach Josie. Mm-hmm. I like that episode. Probably because I just know him and I'm super comfortable with him, but that was an easy episode to like talk to him.
And he's doing his next Ironman next week in Maine.
In Maine?
Yeah, full Ironman.
There you go, dude.
Yeah, be cool.
Why don't you do cool stuff like that?
You know, I'm not cool. I'm just, just a loser.
All right, I'm sorry. Take it easy on yourself.
I gotta go.
And your brother, Zach, he probably had the worst movie pick in the show's history. It was brutal.
Yeah.
I feel like he did it on purpose to get it was that bad. He can't truly think Pee-wee's Adventure or whatever is legit.
Like, I appreciate that movie as well.
He was trying to be different, right?
Yeah, I mean, there's no way that can be someone's favorite movie.
There's just no way. Then we had Tyler Hall on, who almost lost his wife. Tyler's I like Tyler. You can give him shit, and he takes it well. It's pretty good.
Fun fact about Tyler, he doesn't use menus.
I don't do menus.
We went out to lunch with him, and we tried to give him a menu.
We told this story on an episode.
Yeah. He doesn't want a menu.
We gave him so much shit for it. He was apologizing as we were leaving. He's like, I'm sorry. Like, do you remember that?
We guilted him into starting.
Yeah, I'm like, who doesn't use menu? Like, and then we had Tim Drisdom on. And he talked about we talked about like racism in that one, and then he lost family member. That was kind of a unique one, a little different. Mm-hmm. Wyatt Klein, high school kid, just graduated this year. Mom committed suicide, and he found her, had to cut her down. Like, brutal, dude. Dude, I remember that episode with Wyatt Klein when I asked him to tell us about that day, and he was telling us. I had this thought, like, what are we doing? Like, is this okay to, like, I'm making this kid... It was so not good.
Right.
But it was kind of good in a different way. Then we had Brandon Burke on, Parable of the Mexican Fisherman. I really like that episode. I really like that parable a lot. That's one I've taken to heart. Dude, and honestly, it goes. I mentioned it earlier a little bit, but like you go to Florida, like honestly, the best day I had in Destin, Florida, on that beach wasn't that much different than an average day in St. George, Utah, where I wake up and I spend time with Blue and I go to Nets and I do a little workout and then I hang out. Like, dude, like this Mexican fisherman analogy is like 100% true. Okay. So I love that episode a lot. Then we had my tattoo artist on, Preston. And dude, Preston, he's the man, dude. I got tatted up by him yesterday. Got Dash. I love that episode by Preston. He went through.
Yeah. That
was brutal too. Your best friend. Oh man. Anyway. And then we had Jeff Olson.
Well, that was.
Great.
Every time you listed someone, I'm like, oh, I love that episode, and then you list the next one, like, oh, I love that episode.
Jeff was like. Jeff was almost like, hey, let me get some pen and paper. I need, like, slow down. Say that again. Like, he had some shit that, like, really connected and resonated. Well, and
I think his was unique because I think his had been the most time between events from anyone we'd had on. Like, his happened 25 years ago. Yeah. And so it was interesting to hear some of his perspective and things that, like, this is the second anniversary for you. And he's 25 years, and then we've had people all in between that. Yeah. So he was able to offer some unique, kind of just different things we hadn't really talked about yet, which I thought was really interesting.
Yeah, so those are the 20 people that we had on season 1. Thank you so much. I know it's not easy being vulnerable and opening up and talking. Means a lot to me and to our listeners. So thank you. Should we go to what we've learned?
Yeah.
I just jotted down some bullet points. How do you want to do it? You want you to go?
I'll start us off with something. I mean, mine's we'll get into more specifics as we go, but I think just starting it off, I think it's been interesting to hear each person's story and how different it is. Like, it can be a similar story, but then it's the way they tell it and what they experience, the emotions, how it all happened is so different. And then what their 90% is, like, everyone's 90% is so different. And it's easy to, like, say that out loud and, like, oh yeah, well, of course it's gonna be different, everyone's different. But then when you actually, like, really talk to people and learn about their situations, like we've been able to do this past year, it's been interesting to just, like, see, like, people all over are just going through it, dealing with it, finding ways to cope, finding ways to move forward. And it's just a reminder that everyone has issues, and it's not a comparison game. It's not a who's going through it more. It's like, this is my trial, and this is what I'm dealing with, and here's how I deal with it. Yeah. And again, it's easy. Like, you read that on paper, it's like, oh yeah, of course. But then, like, you talk to them, it's just like, man, this, like, that is so true. Like, our podcast studio here at Ryan's is across from Raising Cane's. I bet some poor sap I just passed out there spraying down the hose with the hose every day when I'm here. I bet he's just had a rough something happen.
Yeah, that's how I think too. When I see people now, I'm like, I wonder what he's dealing with.
Yeah,
that's like, just truly. Like what I do when I people watch. I'm like, I bet. Yeah, and you just come up. Yeah, and so that's how my mind works too. Yeah. Yeah, I think, and everyone that we've interviewed, the 1090 thing is just so true. The 1090 quote, like, life's 10% what happens to you, and 90% what you're gonna do about it. And I like. There's different ways to phrase it.
Sure.
Like, I think one quote is, life's 10% what happens to you, 90% how you handle it.
Right.
I like to say what you're going to do about it, because most quotes don't ask you a question.
Right.
They just tell you something. This asks you a question. Like, what are you going to do? It's not telling you what to do.
Right.
And I love that, because at 1090, a part of our message is no one really knows what's going on.
Right.
With us too. Like, we don't really, we only know so much.
Right.
And it's just open-ended. There's really no right or wrong. I mean, there is in some ways, but really it's what are you going to do, man? It's going to be up to you. This thing could go all sorts of directions. And everyone we've had on our podcast, they reach that conclusion. Whatever trauma or obstacle that they face in their life, a month goes by, a year goes by, 10 years go by, eventually you got to answer that question. Like, what are you going to do? And then you got to move forward. Okay, some things I've learned. Let's see. I've jotted down a lot, dude. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. I got 15 things.
Let's hear it.
Should I just run through them? Okay. I learned that I'm not alone. And after the accident, you just feel completely alone. No one understands me. No one gets me. And then we talked about there's gifts with trauma if you have the buffalo mentality and you face it. And one of the gifts I've received is I'm not alone, dude. There's stories out there worse than mine. There's stories out there just and again, not that you rank them.
Sure.
But, like, no, it's pretty bad for a lot of people, and having the courage to talk about my pain has given me this gift of, dude, like, you're not alone, Mace, and that's been really comforting.
Right.
I learned that I'm a lot stronger than I thought, but I think that's how it is for everyone. I think everyone's like, if you were to tell me 2 years ago, like, hey, you're gonna lose Kortni, Riggins, Franki, Race Rider, I'd be like, I can't do that. There's no way. Right. And you just survival, man. You find a way to keep going. And I wouldn't have said I would be strong enough to do something like that. But I think that's important for everyone to remember. Whatever you're facing in your life, like you you can do it because you have to.
Right.
You just, there's no other option. Like, you have to keep going.
Right.
And so you can do it because you have to. We is greater than me. Talking about my pain, dude, changed my life. It did. Talking about it. And I was scared that I'd be because I didn't want to seem like a coward, or I didn't want to act like a victim. Mm-hmm. And I felt like if I talked about it, that's what I'd be doing. But what I've learned is talking about your problems, talking about your pain is a form of acceptance. If you can vocalize it, you're working on accepting it. And then once you accept it, then you can really make some big strides on how you're going to handle this thing.
Right.
So talking about your problems, talking about your pain doesn't make you a victim. Talking about your problems and then wanting special treatment or expecting life to shift so it's easier for you, that's being the victim. Right. And that's victimhood. But talking about it and then doing something positive about it, I think that's being courageous. The love of money and material things, dude. It just drives me nuts. It just does. Like, the things people say, what they're like, oh, like my, I don't want to be rude, but like, it's just like, what? Like,
right.
You're that worried about earning $1 extra and that, like, right. It's just money.
Right.
It's just money. And I said the story about the homeless thing, but I'd love to be homeless with my family. Sounds awesome. And yeah, like, it's just not that important.
Right.
And just thinking back about what I've lost with my family members, I'd never wish that we had a bigger house or went to better vacations or whatever it is that money gives you. I don't know. I don't miss those things at all. I just miss, like, I'd love to go home and the house is small and cheap and messy. And my kids are running around and Kortni's there. That is awesome.
Right.
So yeah, like, and I get it. Like, it's necessary. We need money to, like, live. And it goes to the 1090 thing. And I'm sorry for you guys, because I do think we could make a lot more money if we wanted to. But it makes me sick to my stomach. Like, how much do you charge? Like, how much do I charge to talk about my dead family? Like, it just, there's something about it that just kind of like, that's not why we're doing it. But then it's like, well, if I want to keep doing it, which I do, because I think it's a powerful message that we can help a lot of people, you need more money. So, like, it's like this weird game. You have to balance it out. And I don't know. That one's just, like, I feel weird when we sell 1090 t-shirts. I don't even talk about it that much. We don't ask anyone to subscribe. Dude, what? Okay, really what happened? This is really what happened. And this is good that we stumbled upon this, because Jimmy Rex, we owe Jimmy Rex a thank you. Mm-hmm. We just do. Because what the 1090 was supposed to be was, it was my therapy session. Okay, because I go to see Matt Quackenbush, my therapist, and he's like, hey, this is an opportunity for you to help people. Mm-hmm. So I'm like, okay, great. How do I help people? And originally I wanted to go back, because I have my bachelor's degree in psychology. Mm-hmm. So I'm like, I'll go back and get my master's, become a therapist, and I'll help people out.
Right.
But then I'm like, well, with my trauma brain and all the issues I'm having and the survivor's guilt, I'm like, I can't do a master's program right now. I just can't.
Right.
And so I'm like, well, how do I help? I'm like, well, I asked you, like, hey, let's start a podcast, because talking helps. That's one thing I learned through therapy. Talking is really helping. So let's start a podcast, because you've been through some shit too, right, Dave. So we tell our stories, we talk, and then if people like it and it helps, great. If not, they move along. And I honestly thought it would be like a couple dozen people listening, and that's right, all. And I was cool with that.
Right.
And that's kind of how I hoped it'd be.
Right.
And then, like, what I wanted to do was eventually, when I got better, I'd go back to school, get my master's program, and become a therapist, and the podcast would just kind of be a side thing.
Right.
And then this guy, Jimmy Rex, messages me, and he's like, hey, you want to be on my podcast? I'm like, yeah. And I'm deep in the grief. So like I go on Instagram. When I go on Instagram, it's to make a post, make a picture, tell someone thank you, and then I'm off, because if you start scrolling, it's just pictures of family and just like, okay, screw this. And so I don't even know who Jimmy Rex is. Right. So he sends me the address to his studio, and I get there, and it's nice. And I'm like, oh, like this isn't my basement with Sam. like this guy's got something going. So we're about to record, and he's just so nice. He's like, I love your story. I've listened to your stuff. I think it's great. He's like, he has like I don't know what you call it, but like a group, like a men's group.
Yeah.
Yeah, the coaching group. And they went to some crazy cool place. Like, I don't even remember.
Bear Lake.
No. This was like Ireland or something. Yeah, for like 2 weeks. He's like, do you want to go? I'm like, dude, like, I'm going through it. I know. But like the point is, he was so nice.
Right.
And so I remember asking him, so we record, I think it was before we were recording, I look over, I'm like, so who are you? I had no idea. And he looks at me like, who am I? Like, I'm Jimmy Rex. So we record. I'm like, who is this guy? So I go to Instagram and I type in Jimmy Rex, and boom. I'm like, oh shit. Like, this guy is Jimmy Rex. This guy. Okay, JR. Okay. And so like, oh, that's cool. A couple months go by, and it's just whatever. I forget about it. Whatever. And then he posts that Buffalo clip.
Right.
And it takes off. And buddies they send me screenshots, and they're messaging me like, hey, you popped up on my Twitter today. Right. I'm like, what? It's like, yeah, it's got like 17 million likes. I'm like, what? I'm like, I don't even have Twitter really. I'm like, what? And so like, okay, and that's really, I mean, let's just be honest. That's really what took 1090 to where we are now. Like, if it wasn't for Jimmy Rex, we'd probably be around, I don't know, 1,000 followers still. I have no idea. I don't know. But that, like, now, and then people start hitting us up. Like, will you come speak to my construction company? Will you come speak to my school? And then it became like, wait, what are we doing? And then my mom is like, hey, you got to keep track of money you make, because when, like, something about taxes or whatever, like, you're going to be done. Like, you got to keep track of it. I'm like, keep track of what? I'm like, the money. I'm like, what money? I'm like, they're giving you money. I'm like, how much money? I'm like, it's just like, and so now we're like, are we a business now? Like, do we go get an LLC? I'm like, and then I'm like, I don't want a business. Like, why are we doing a business?
The best part is, like, I'll get home and, like, my wife will have talked to your mom about the taxes, and they're like, so your mom's asking you, my wife's asking me, and you're both like, look, I don't know.
I don't know. I don't want to go to jail later. Like, look, I'll give you the money. I don't know. I don't know. And so now we're like, and I never say no. I never say no to anything. So we're going to, like, we went to this elementary school. We're talking to like 7-year-olds. Do you remember that one?
Was that in Price?
Dude, I remember great people.
Yeah.
And remember, like, I read my mom's book, the Buffalo book, and I'm like, oh, crushed it, great.
This is great.
Like, we're probably over. Like, I need to wrap this up. So I start wrapping it up, and I look at you, and you're like, Mace, we got 20 minutes left. I'm like, what? So I start like, anyone got any questions? These little kids start asking, like, the weirdest, most bizarre, like, which kid did you love the most? Like, okay, I don't. So, do you remember these questions? Like, what kind of car were you driving during the act? Like,
yeah,
I'm like,
this isn't. I remember, and it's like, oh man,
this is rough. Kid. So, like, okay, so then I just lifted up my pant legs, and like, look at my tattoos, and they started, oh, and then we called it. Like, kind of ended bad, but like, dude, like. That's kind of how this whole thing started. Yeah. And I don't even, I don't remember
Jimmy Rex.
Yeah. Anyway, another thing I learned, we're all doing the same thing. We're all so similar, but we go about it in different ways. And when we did the episode where we were honoring Kortni with her siblings, I kind of mentioned this, but like in the LDS faith, you have patriarchal blessings. Mm-hmm. You guys dig it, but you don't get down with like fortune tellers or palm readers, or you think that's weird. It's the same thing. Like we're all, and I was doing an episode with that Levi guy who was he was a gang member, went to prison, and like what I kind of thought I had listening to him was the thing he was going after in these gangs was the same thing we're going after in our religion or with our family. Like he just wants to connect to something. He wants purpose. He wants love. He's just going about it in a totally different, sometimes really wrong, bad way. But it's the same thing, man. And the same thing with all these religions. Like the Christian can pray to the God and they get the feeling and they love it and it changes their life, and that's great. But the Jewish rabbi did the same thing. And the monk did the same thing. Like, it's all the same thing, dude. And like,
that's like going to, I mean, we've talked about it early in the episodes, is that people worry too much about the differences in whether it's I mean, it's everything in life. Everyone is worried about the difference of everything rather than like how everything is the same. Like
really weird.
Even like, yeah, just like, I mean, trivial things, real deep things. It's like, why everyone, I think that's just naturally, everyone's like, well, this is better. This one's real. This one's not, blah, blah, blah. But it's like, let's like, we've highlighted the differences, but like really look how many more similarities there are than differences.
Yeah, it's kind of like we're digging our own grave, and you're using like the shovel with the point, and I'm using the shovel that's flat. And we're like, why are you using the pointy shovel? That's not how, like, really, like, dude, can we talk about all the similarities around this thing? Like, we're all going to die. We're all going to end up there.
Right.
We're all using some type of tool. Like, it's the same.
We're all trying to get 6 feet down.
Same. It's same, but different. Yeah. It's just, that was one of the first things that I got after the accident is all these people, like, we're all doing the same thing. We call it different things. It's the same game. So, and then no one really, I said no one really knows anything.
Yeah. I mean, they don't. Like, everyone has like a niche, you know, some that like, that's their thing that they're intelligent in and have knowledge in. But like at the end of the day, no one knows the answers to things. Like it's just, and I think it's because there's no one answer to everything. Yeah. Like there are a million different ways to do one thing, and so everyone can give you a different answer. And then it's like, well, which one's right? It's like,
yeah, no one knows what's
going on.
Yeah,
I agree. People don't know things.
Acceptance. Talking helps with acceptance. I already mentioned that. Another thing I learned, lost a lot, never been filled with so much anger. And it's like it's like anger with like a splash of jealousy. Like I'll look at a family, wife, husband, kids, just walking around. I'm like, what the hell? Like, what the hell?
Right.
But love, dude, love, that's the answer. And I was talking to a buddy who's really going through it yesterday. I was talking to him, and he said, like, he's like, I'm trying to be like the buffalo, head into this thing. And then he said, he's like, one thing I've learned about being the buffalo is, he said, because I've been mad my whole life, just been, because he lost his mom and all this different stuff. He's like, I've been mad my whole life. He's like, one thing I've learned about when I took on the idea to be a buffalo is it's easy to be angry. Right. It's easy to be mad at the world. That's the easy way out. It's hard to love people. And it's like, yeah, dude, like, that's totally it. Right. And I think that's something Stoicism has taught me. Stoics believe, like, to be virtuous for virtuous sake. So even if the other person's not nice to you, you be nice to them. Right. Because that's just the correct, good thing to do, and that's what's in your control. You can't control what they do, but you can control what you do, and you got to be virtuous no matter the circumstance. And love, like, that's my way through this thing. It's not hate. It's not wishing other people to feel like I feel. That's not the answer. The answer is I don't want anyone to feel this. This is brutal. Right. So let's try to help people. So I really like that one. And then I did learn how, dude, the car accident happens and so loved. I have a great family. Right. My family's awesome. And we don't see eye to eye on everything, but we love, like, it's amazing. I have amazing family and friends. We move forward not because of our emotions, but despite our emotions. Learned that one. The yin and the yang. It's both all the time. That's the survivor's guilt that I have is weird because like I have a good day and I'm happy and then I feel bad.
Right.
Which makes sense in my head anyway. And talking to my therapist and talking to people that we've had on our show, one thing I've learned is like pain and joy, they're literally the same. It's like the color purple. Like pain and misery is red, and then the joy is blue, and that makes purple. Right. But if you want joy, pain it's the color purple. Like it's literally the same thing. Right. And if you try to take pain away, you're gonna lose joy. You're gonna lose happiness. And that's why, like me and you, we have that disconnect about heaven because it just heaven is you're taking the red away, and you're saying it's going to be purple. Like no, it needs it. So it's just like it's the same. Like pain is joy, and joy is pain. They're different, like different emotions, but they are so connected. Like it's purple. It's literally purple, and you can't have one without the other. And I've learned to accept pain and embrace pain and love my pain. And I've kind of stumbled upon this idea of, like, how lucky am I to have this amount of pain? Like, how many people on earth got to love their spouse like I did, have the kids and love the kids that we had, loved my brother in the relationship, like, how many people get to experience this depth of pain, which ultimately means look how good and happy and look how much I had. It's really quite astounding. Right. And so pain showed me how much I love my family. Pain shows me how great Kortni. Death has shown me how unbelievably beautiful and great Kortni was. Same thing with Riggins and Franki and Race and Rider. Like, and I was on the podcast the other day and we were talking about this. I was talking about accepting and loving this pain because it can teach you so much. It can show you who you are. And it sounds weird saying it, but I think there's some truth behind it. And I'm still trying to figure this one out because it still sounds weird when I say it. Like, how blessed am I to have the pain of losing so much? But it's starting to click and make sense. I think there's some truth to it. But pain is good. Right. It just is. It's one of the best parts of life. And life would be impossible without it. Okay. Be the buffalo. There are blessings within trauma. We've hit that one a lot. How much I love my family. How lucky I am to feel this pain. Just talked about that. And then the last bullet point I have is the pain will not go away. And I don't want it to go away. And that's a weird thing I've learned about trauma and losing loved ones is that pain, back to the pain, that pain is what keeps you connected to them. So, like, if the pain goes away, then they go away. And so it's not so much how to, like, the question isn't how do I not feel the pain? The question is, what am I going to use the pain for? Like, what am I going to do with the pain? Right. And you can use it to help a lot of people and help yourself and become stronger and better, or it can cripple you and you can have the victim mentality and you can run away from it your whole life.
Well, we'd mentioned having Jeff Olson on our podcast at the beginning of the episode. Something that he said, how when he was talking, he was saying like how much he loved listening to your message. Mm-hmm. And then he said, like, I didn't talk about this, like his situation. I think he said 10 years before he opened up.
See, and that's my one regret with him. Like, I wish I asked him more questions about those 10 years. Like, what were you doing? Yeah. Like, what was your day-to-day like?
But then he even said in that, like, after I started talking about it, things got better. But think about that 10 years where he just kept it in. And I mean, you're obviously, there's days you're still going through it, but you've been able to understand the concept of the importance of talking about it and embracing certain situations. And some people don't do that, and it just prolongs the storm, essentially.
Yeah.
Like
The
it's
cow mentality, yeah.
yeah. So I don't know. That's something that just sticks out, and it's, and who are we to say, like, hey, Jeff, you should have really started talking about it a little earlier than that.
Jeff, you should.
Yeah, but again, like it's, I don't know. Yeah, there's just, and I think that goes back to like no one knows anything. Like everyone just handles things differently.
It's so true.
Something that I have picked up on, that I have seen from a lot of people who know you, who listen to podcasts, seeing you talk about it, and again, always acknowledging first and foremost that you're never going to get over it, but you're living your life the best you can. You being able to show that to people, being on the podcast, talking about it, I think them seeing that helps them not feel guilty, being sad.
Yeah.
Or like, it's okay because Mason's having a good day, I'm okay. I'm allowed to have a good day today. Like, you moving forward, I think, has helped a lot of people that also have lost and hurt from that car accident. Like, they look to you as like a, Mason, if you're okay today, like, I can have a good day today. But if you're sad, I feel like I can't be happy today. And so I think you finding that strength to move forward and progress has helped a ton of people, that just from conversations I've had and the things people have seen, like even myself, like when you're having a good day and we're talking 1090 stuff. And I mean, I loved Court, and we were such good friends, and it's like, when you're happy, like, it allowed me to be like, okay, you know what? I can be happy and talk about this today and not be sad.
Yeah.
Because Mason's doing that too.
No, I feel that way when we have people on our podcast and they tell us their story, and then you look at them like, oh, but you're still living life. And I'm like, what? Like, that's how I feel.
Right.
That's why I love having people on, is the people like me and you, or again, everyone. Like, even people like Ryan. Like, Ryan suffers from vertigo like once a month.
Yeah. I mean, if y'all knew Ryan, I mean, next time anyone runs into Ryan, you ask him about his trip to San Diego and vertigo.
I remember one time. I remember it was a tough podcast. Like, I don't remember which one, but it was it was not good. And so me, you, and Ryan go to lunch after to Rumby. And we're just like sitting there like, man, like, life is rough. And then we look over at Ryan like, Ryan, what? Like, what is
I forgot.
You remember that? We're like, Ryan, Ryan just kind of like doesn't look good. And we're like, Ryan, what's your deal? He's like, I have vertigo. And it was just bad timing, because we were talking about like the worst things that could happen to someone. And then Ryan says he has vertigo. And so Sam, in the middle of the restaurant, Sam stands up and you mock Ryan, and you kind of move back and forth. You're like, oh, I'm Ryan, I got vertigo. Just so mean, dude.
And the best is, like, Ryan did not look well.
No,
like,
Ryan was hurt. Like, vertigo's not good. And then Ryan's like, you guys are assholes. I'm like, yeah, like, you don't want to complain around us. Like, vertigo? Get out of here. But no, the last thing I have is, life is truly 10% what happens to you and 90% what you're going to do about it. I love that quote. Saved my life. What's done is done. Death is in the past, so 10 seconds ago, dead, done. Never have it back. It's done. What are you going to do now, moving forward? Yeah.
Yeah, it's been I can't believe it's been a year of this podcast already. Like, it's been fun. We've got, like, I think we literally released an episode every week. Like,
yeah, we did.
We got 52 episodes.
Yeah, we got after it.
Awesome. I love it.
Yeah. It's funny because I was talking to Keisha because we're coming up. Well, I guess it's weird because we're not recording this on 7/25. What's the date today? The 21st. Anyway. But we're releasing this episode on 7/25. But anyway, we're talking about the 2-year mark because it's coming up. And Keisha's like, I don't even know. Like, the 2-year thing is just so weird. And she said, it sounds cliche, but it's totally like, it feels like it happened yesterday, and it feels like it happened 20 years ago. Just that weird combination. It's true. Like, it's been 2 years since the accident, and then it's been a year We've already done a year of the podcasting. Just
Right.
like a blur, dude. Got some messages, comments. Should we read through some and then call it?
Yeah. Yeah. Read
Where
through
are we at on time, Dave? 50 minutes already? Yeah. Jesus Christopher. Oh my gosh. Okay, here we go. We'll get through a couple of these. Okay, here we go. Okay. The weirdest place you've ever gone to the bathroom.
I had an emergency situation probably like 4 or 5 years ago where I was driving with my mom and my wife on Bangor, and I couldn't make it home, and I made him pull over on the side of Bangor, and I got out of the car, and I told him, I like, you guys just go, and I went number 2 on the on Bangor, cars passing, just
Like out the window?
No, like I got out of the car on the side of the road on Bangor, cars going.
Go
back
on
and
without
forth.
me.
And
Yeah, that's pretty bad.
It wasn't good. It was a very low moment for me personally, mentally.
Like, how did I get here? How am
Yeah.
I pissing off the side of Bangor
It
right
wasn't
now?
piss. Yeah, that's the problem, Dave. It was not good. It was not good.
It wasn't piss.
So I would say the side of the road.
Yeah, I shit my pants. So me, Kortni, went to. It was a bowl game. I think it was because I was supposed to go to Boise State. So we went to the Boise State versus TCU Fiesta Bowl.
Yeah.
This is like when Boise State was like in the whack, but like
They used to be fairly
they'd
decent,
wind up in
yeah.
the top 5 and they like beat Oklahoma. Like remember that?
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
that's where we're at.
Okay.
So we go to this bowl game. We're in Vegas. But the bowl game was in Arizona. I think maybe we stopped in Vegas. I don't know. We're in Vegas and we're hanging out and we're walking back to the hotel. We're staying at the one that looks like a castle. Is it the Excalibur?
Yeah.
So we're staying at Excalibur. So I'm walking over the bridge. So there's a bridge that connects Excalibur to another casino. New York, maybe? Anyway, across the bridge, and my guy's like, this is not good. And I'm like, I'm going to blow it up. So I don't want to do a public restroom because
Sure.
it's going to be public restroom. I sit down and then boom. Like,
Not
and
well,
who wants
yeah.
to do that? So I'm trying to make it back to the hotel. We get to the elevator and it was over. I tried my hardest to not shit my pants, and I shit my pants, and then Kortni like cleaned she's like scrubbing she threw the underwear away. She's like, we're just tossing these. And she's like doing laundry in the sink, like cleaning my shorts yeah.
You're in the bed. Thank you. Thank you. Make sure you use soap.
Here we go. Hi, Sam and Mason. Love your podcast. I would love to hear an episode featuring Mason's parents. How have they dealt with such an immense loss, and how have they been able to support their grieving family? So, because I get asked too, like, you should have Keisha on, or, but like, okay. First of all, I just get guilty about things. So if I have Keisha or my parents on, why didn't you have your sister Shannon on?
Right.
Why didn't you have Sage on? And it's just like, well, and then it's like, well, I don't want to have everyone on. Because here's the other thing. And, like before the car accident, there's just, if you put a microphone to your mouth and you record yourself and then you post it, it's just kind of douchebaggish. Like really? You think you're that cool?
Right.
You think you're that cool? So I've always just kind of had that part of me. And so I struggle with the podcast. I just do. Because part of me loves it and I need it and it's a great outlet and it's therapeutic and we help other people and we love the messages and I love it and I'm obviously, we keep doing it. Like we're going to have season 2. So obviously I love it.
Right.
But there's a part of me like, it's embarrassing. And so like, if I just have all my family, I don't know. I feel like I'm kind of like a douchebag now. I became the douchebag I always hated. And now here I am. I have the microphone and I think I have important things. Like, who thinks that?
I
Like,
have
you
the
think you haven't, like...
and you don't. So you will listen.
I have the microphone and you don't, so you'll listen to every goddamn word I have to say. That's a wedding singer. But do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's just like, and I think it'd be a powerful podcast. I do. But then it's like, I don't even know what I'm saying. I hate it too. I also hate it. And it's embarrassing. It's embarrassing. And that's why I don't listen to our podcast. I only listen. Okay, this is what happened. I would listen to our podcast until, hold on, I have it right here. Ryan, you might have to edit this because I just forgot her name. I listened to our podcast until we had Carrie McKee on.
Okay.
And I was listening to that episode. And listen, like, we're not right all the time. We say some wrong, like, we're probably just wrong sometimes when we talk, like everyone else. Like, you just don't get everything right. But I'm listening to this episode with her, and we get to the part of her husband gets arrested, and he's going to prison. And it gets brought, it's been almost a year, right? So, but it gets brought up, like, I kind of casually say, like, oh, is your husband just going to kill himself? Like, it's probably what I would do type of thing. And she's like, yeah, I could see him doing that. And it's just like, I hated it.
You hated the answer?
I hated that I said that because the 1090 thing is, it could be the worst thing. It could literally be the worst thing. Like your family dies in a car accident or the love of your life, your husband turns out to be this unbelievably weird, creepy, terrible, taking pictures of, not good. But like what's done is done.
Right.
So like, what are we gonna do about it? And and this is weird coming from me because I don't believe in the literal Jesus. Like I don't believe there's a God. Like I don't believe in Thor. I don't believe in the Easter Bunny. I don't believe in Jesus. That makes sense to me. Okay. So, but I do believe like in the message of Jesus Christ.
Sure.
Really powerful thing. And so like, if Jesus Christ came down here and saw that guy, what would he do?
Right.
No, I want you to answer. What do you think he would do to him?
Love him.
Probably hug him.
Yeah.
And cry.
See, but I think that shows, I think that shows the growth of, like, you and that, like, your perspective on that has changed since that episode to right now.
And it's just, like, it just kind of made me sick. Like, that wasn't cool. Like, that's not 1090. And I'm not saying what he did is okay in any way.
Right.
But, like, here's the other thing. What that guy did, someone else is going to do. It's going to happen again.
Right.
So how do we handle this thing with this dude? Like, we could learn from him. Like, hey, what happened? Like, how did this go off the rails?
Right.
How could we have helped you better? How can we help other, like, but we just, like, I don't know. I listened to that, and it was just, like, you know how sometimes your gut just drops?
Yeah.
It's just, that's why, and
I'm done.
I don't listen to any of our stuff again.
Yeah.
Well, I do listen to the second episode we did with my therapist because that's when Ryan's song is the intro. And so when I'm willing, I'll listen to the first 4 minutes of that just to jam because I love that song by Ryan. So I listen to like the first 4 minutes of that. And if I'm being completely honest, I will sometimes listen to the last 6 or 7 minutes we did with Preston, my tattoo artist, when we're just joking about Dumb and Dumber. Like I'll just skip it. And I will listen to those 2 parts of our podcast because when we were laughing about Dumb and Dumber with my tattoo artist, Preston, that was the moment in season 1 where it felt like we weren't on the podcast the most.
Right.
Like I totally, for a couple minutes there, it was like we were just shooting the shit, no mics. We were just,
right.
And I love that. I hope to get to that level for every podcast. Like,
for sure.
It's not, we're just talking.
Right.
But like, I don't even know how we got here, but yeah, what was the question? I don't even remember. My parents. So I don't know. I don't know. That's kind of where I'm at with that stuff. Okay, moving on. Oh, we just got a new one.
What do we got? Let's see.
Here we go.
An anonymous question going right now.
Have you had any dreams since the accident with your family in them? Not really. I had one really early on where I saw our car but no one. It was just I just remember seeing our car, and then when I went to Europe, because marijuana helps me fall asleep. So, but I went to Europe, and after Amsterdam, no marijuana for 10 days.
Right.
And so I really struggled to sleep, but because I wasn't using marijuana, I could dream again. So I started having these dreams in Europe, and they were just brutal. And they weren't dreams of my family, but they were dreams of things just getting smashed. Like I had this one weird dream of these turtles crossing the road and just kept getting smashed by bowling balls. I had a dream where I was flipping through Instagram and everything was just a car accident or things just like running into each other.
Right.
But I haven't had a dream yet of like Kortni or Riggins or anything like that yet. Okay, next one. Hi, Sam and Mason. Love your podcast. I'd love to hear an episode featuring. Oh, I just read that one. Dude, this app we use sucks because I can't tell where we leave off.
Yeah.
I don't like it. How does someone show up for someone suffering trauma?
I think that's the question, or that's the answer. You just show up. You just be there to talk. Be there to listen.
Yeah, I think just be there to listen. Don't say it's okay.
Yeah.
Hey, this is okay. Because it's not. And it never will be.
Right.
I don't know why people say that.
I don't know
it's
why
okay.
people say that.
It's not okay. I mean, we can try to make good things happen from it, but it ain't good.
Right.
And it never will be good.
Right.
Yeah, show up, give them a hug. Don't have any answers. Just like, where do you need me? Where do you want me?
Yeah.
Try to make them laugh. I don't know. Like, maybe talk about, like, I don't know. Just go to lunch.
Yeah.
Talk about, like, a funny movie. That's what me and you would do.
Yeah.
I don't know. That wasn't our best answer right there. Okay. I don't even know what we're doing. Should we just end this? We have a plethora of questions. Should we just do a couple more?
Do two more.
Okay. What do you think about politics? I don't know anything about politics. Do you know anything? I don't know. No question. Actually, okay.
Politics don't belong in the 1090 podcast.
What do you think of politics? I don't know.
Yeah, next question.
Yeah, well, I don't want to back down from it. I'd like to answer every question.
I think that's the question. Like we don't.
But I literally it doesn't interest me. It doesn't resonate with me.
Yeah.
I don't get why people hate each other so much. Okay. Honestly, like you're a Democrat. Like what? It's kind of like you like the Wizards. It's all about the Warriors, bro. Like. And I get it, like there's policies and law, like I get it, and I get it, but like I also just don't. Rude. I just don't get it at all. Yeah. Okay, here we go. No question, you guys are awesome. This podcast is amazing. I love it. I returned something for $10 and thought Sam would be proud.
I am proud. I am actually very proud. Thank you.
And
the worst part is, I'll bet you there are a lot of our listeners that do what I do, but they're also the silent type. They're not going to message in. They're not going to send anything.
Yeah.
But when they hear that story, they know. They're like, oh, yeah, I do that. So thank you for taking the time to send that in.
There you go. Next question. Did you start leaving the church before the accident along with Kortni, or is the religious change only post-accident? Has the change in beliefs affected other family members of both Race and Kortni? I feel we've talked about this a lot.
Yeah.
And I know, like, I don't want to like talk shit on people. I don't want to just get on here and bash a church, or I don't want that to be a 1090 thing.
Sure.
And I know I make fun of God and the religion thing a lot. I think one of the reasons I do that is it's less personal that way, and I'm not specifically like going after the LDS church. It's just like God in general.
Sure.
So I don't want to get into the specifics of why I wanted to leave. But like, okay, first of all, leaving the church before the accident along with Kortni, I'm not sure who sent this. These are all anonymous, and I'm never going to figure out who sent it. But like, that's just not how it was. I had problems with the church because I I just study things. And I think if a religion's worth pursuing, it should hold up to scrutiny and critical thinking. And if it's truth, it will survive it. And if it's not, it's not. It's pretty simple. It's just pretty simple. So I'm going to read the history and all the stuff. So like I had issues with it, but I was kind of like, I don't want to talk about my specific issues because I love you, Sam, and I respect your faith, and I don't want people to be uncomfortable on 1090. It's not about politics. It's not about, you can believe whatever you want.
Right.
Just don't think you're better than me because I don't believe.
You think you're better than me?
You think you're better than me? So like, I don't really know how to handle this question. It's just, because I don't want to just like,
right.
I don't want to do that. That's not what this podcast is about.
Well, I think maybe the answer, and like I'm not answering for you, but it was a lot. It wasn't just like you woke up one day and said, "Hey, I'm out." Like,
no,
it was a lot more to it than just like I didn't just leave. I didn't just decide. It was like it's a process, not just like a
and it was a tough. And I was kind of in the mindset. I was in the mindset for a few months of. I was kind of like, I don't think this is true, but I think it's true in the sense it can make my life good, and I love courting my kids, so I can make it work. And then COVID happened, and we're just sitting at the house. I don't know if it was boredom or what, but I just told Kortni, like, hey, I got some issues. But I don't want to go down those rabbit holes. This isn't going to be a podcast. If you want to be LDS or like go, like do it.
Right.
That's awesome. Mm-hmm. Just don't. Your bishop works for FedEx. Don't listen to him for advice on your marriage or your sex life or your, like, he doesn't know. He just doesn't, okay? Like that, like, I'm just trying to help you. Like, they're just normal people, dude. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. We need to.
Mason went on a little rant here. We didn't feel like it added value to the anniversary episode. There were some funny things said, so I left a few sound bites. But at the end of the day, if your beliefs help you live a better, more fulfilled, happier life, go for it.
If there's no pain, there's no joy. It doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make any sense, however you slice this thing.
And then like, episode was going so well. This episode was going so well.
All right, we're done. We're done. We just got to move on. I don't get it. What are we doing? Like, don't drink coffee? That's what we're worried about? Like, hey, I know Ukraine's not doing well, but hey, did they go to the fireside? Are they drinking coffee? Like, I don't get it.
He's bringing in politics with Ukraine. He's bashing church, and this is not good.
Yeah, Ryan's got some editing to do.
Last question.
Yeah, this is getting bad.
Last question.
Hey, okay, here we go.
I want to end the anniversary episode, though, with a movie list.
Okay, I like that. Ready to go. Okay, next question. Mason, I truly don't know how you could be any... Sorry. Please just keep doing your 1090 Rule podcast so the tens of thousands of people who love you and Blue and your entire family will be able to connect with you all in some way, small way. This one's not on me. Like, I know I can't read very good, but this was worded poorly. And I appreciate the compliment, but yeah. Thank you. Butchered that one, my bad. Struggling here. Okay, one more.
Last one. Then we're.
I would love if you started a charity. I no longer pay tithing, but here we go.
No.
No, the tithing doesn't bother me because I think like sacrificing your income and give it like that's a good thing. So that's not the part that bothers me. Just spend the money, like help people out. Okay, here we go. Sorry. I no longer pay tithing, but I would certainly put my money into a 1090 sponsored charity. We could even hold a worthiness interview at the end of the year. LOL.
Oh my.
I didn't. What do you want? What?
I didn't write that.
God, what do you want me to do? Have you ever been fired from a job? Hold on. Back to that question though, because I've had thoughts of like, do we open up like a thing like if people want to donate to 1090, like do we do? Because Ryan needs money. He just does. He works his ass off for because you work, dude.
Vertigo's not easy to work with.
But Ryan, be honest. Like, how many hours do you put in making one clip on Instagram? Like, how long does that take you?
I mean, it depends on the clip, but yeah. I mean,
Well, give me how many hours?
on one clip.
Yeah, like an average clip that you do.
I don't know, couple hours.
Couple hours, and then hours for the podcasting, hours for editing the podcasting, traveling to speaking gigs. Like, and he gets,
It's more like when someone in Idaho reaches out and is like, "Hey, can you come speak?" Like,
right.
we need gas money. Like,
I know, and it's hard because like, it is like a full for me too. Like, and the like I do a speaking gig emotionally, I'm just kind of done that. I can't. So it goes back to the money thing. Like, we do need money because it is kind of like my job, and it takes a lot of time and effort and energy and plan. Like, but then like I don't want money. I don't know, but like I don't know. Like, I don't want to have like I don't know, but maybe we should. Oh, this is the worst episode we've ever done on the anniversary. Okay, here we go.
I think the episode was good.
And then we went off.
And then
the
we
rails.
went into questions, and it went off the rails.
Should we
I think we cut all questions out.
No, I like the questions.
I'll chop it up.
And then,
Right.
but I think we just let's jump right into the finish with movies now then.
I'll make sure that Mason doesn't look like a angry ex-mom.
I don't want to go down this rabbit hole. The politics, not tithing, but
I'm down with. Let's just post it all. I don't give a shit. You think I give a shit? Let's just post all of it, Ryan. I don't. Even when Sam went to take a piss and we took a break, let's just keep it all.
No, you're gonna have to when you went to take a break.
All right. I'm right. And I'm not busy.
All right.
Okay, we're gonna end with movies.
Okay.
Since it's season 1, recap. And I apologize to listeners. We just went off the rails today. That's my bad, probably. But we're going to end with our favorite movies. Or, I don't know.
Let's pick a favorite movie from the past year that we've seen since we started the podcast.
Okay.
What is a movie
but
you enjoyed?
I do want, just because it's the anniversary, just real quick, I want to say one more time, I love you, Kortni. I love you, Riggins. I love you, Franki. I love you, Race. I love you, Rider. I miss you every day. Blue, I love you so much. I see Kortni and Riggins and Franki in you, and it's great. And if it wasn't for you, Blue, I don't know where I'd be. Probably not alive, though. And I do sincerely thank all our supporters and listeners. Super cool season 1 experience. So yeah, just want to say that one more time. Okay, movies. Favorite movie or top 3 movies this past year or what? Just one movie?
1 or 2 movies that you enjoyed.
Okay, I'm trying to
this
think.
Past year.
Past year, do you have any off the top of your head?
I'm trying to think. I've seen a lot. I enjoyed the James Bond movie
Yeah.
this past year. Creed.
You loved Creed.
Loved Creed. This was a poor finish. I think we should end with your thank yous. I think so, Ryan. I need you to cut the movies, and I think that was a good way to finish it. And then let's clap it back in to the end where you send us out.
Life's 10% what happens to you, 90% what you're going to do about it.